say a gang of up to 15 people wearing balaclavas have vandalised the Shell Corrib gas pipeline site in Mayo. They broke into the site at Glengad last night and used a digger to cause extensive damage.
Shell say they estimate thousands of euros worth of damage was done to their property. They'll be making no further comment on the issue, saying it was now a matter for the Gardaí.
About 15 masked men wearing balaclavas, carrying iron bars, broke into the compound at Glengad and did quite an amount of destruction. They commandeered a machine there belonging to the company, and they used that machine to destroy quite an amount of fence, and they did a lot of disruption within that building site. That operation was carried out with military precision. It looked like a paramilitary tactic, if you like, as far as we were concerned, because they went in there in the dead of night in a very remote area. The two security men that were employed by the company there ran for their lives, actually, and those people were then able to carry out their desecration or their damage to that site, as I say, with almost military precision.
An Garda Síochána have told lies to the media. The media have been very one-sided and untruthful in presenting that picture. The facts are that there were no armed thugs that went in on that site at all. There were no iron bars or chains or weapons of any description. Local residents removed the fence, the illegal fence, and that was the correct thing to do.
And were they wearing balaclavas?
That's all I have to say on that. I have no further comment.
Were you there, Niall?
No, I wasn't there.
The mysterious events in the early hours of April 23rd, like everything else about this story, are keenly contested. This episode will go down in local folklore as the night of the balaclavas.
Willie Corduff claims that 5 hours after the site was overrun by a group of men in balaclavas, a second group of men in balaclavas arrived, took him by force from underneath the truck, and beat him, as he says himself, within an inch of his life.
At 4 a.m. that morning, we made a decision to remove Mr. Corduff from the truck. We approached the truck with that intention in mind. However, as we approached the truck, we discovered that Mr. Corduff was already out of the location underneath the truck and standing about 3 meters from the truck. As we approached Mr. Corduff, he did look surprised, but he immediately realised that he was compromised and sat down on the ground.
From our perspective, it was Shell mercenaries who beat up Willie Corduff, and he was removed forcibly by up to 10 Shell security wearing balaclavas in the dead of night and hospitalised him with serious injuries.
There was no physical assault, there was nobody in balaclavas. He was treated humanely at all times.
Willie Corduff also claimed that he was covered in bruises, and when we spoke to him in Castlebar Hospital a short time later, he agreed both to show us his bruises and to give us an interview about this horrifying ordeal. We never heard from Willie again.
There was no situation underneath the truck that he could have been bruised. He sat down immediately after getting out from underneath the truck. He was treated by a paramedic, and the Garda were present during that time, and there was no bruising evident to me.
Has he made a complaint to on Garda Síochána?
Well, I've seen those remarks which are attributed to Mr. Corduff in the media, but at this point in time, Mr. Corduff has not made a complaint to the Garda in relation to the incidents that allegedly occurred to him at Glengad.
To this day, no independent evidence has been produced to the media or anybody else to support Willie's claims. Considering that the campaigners are normally so publicity conscious, it is, to say the least, rather odd. The tab for the night of the balaclavas is yet another charge on the taxpayer. The Corrib gas bill is piling up. Over €11 million has been spent on police overtime alone. Money that could be used to combat the warlords of organised crime and the terror masters of all the IRAs is now being spent on shielding Shell from Maura Harrington and her camp followers. The long-running soap opera at Glengad could wipe us all out financially if Shell failed to lay that pipeline and come looking to the Irish people for compensation.
Oh, well, that's a huge exposure there to the Irish taxpayer. Because if, for any reason that the company were to abandon the project altogether, they can sue the state for billions. I mean, the bailout of the banks will be chicken feed compared to what this one could be about. And the state has to assert its authority in this field here, and it has to say the people that want to get this project up and running will have to be protected. The workers and the people that do the jobs there have to be protected, and this thuggery and this bullying will have to stop.
It'd be an absolute tragedy if it didn't go ahead now, but I believe it will go ahead. It has to, for the good of the country, for the good... I mean, if it's to stop now, why would any other multinational company try and go ahead with any projects further in this country? The knock-on effect of if this project did not go ahead would be detrimental to the country as a whole, let alone the North Mayo.
Hopefully it'll be regarded as when Ireland went through the electrification process, people were against that. Where are they now?
If the gas doesn't flow into this site and into this country, you can pretty much say it'll be the last nail in the coffin of the Celtic Tiger, because we won't encourage any more development in this country.
Gas will flow. That's how it'll end. Gas will flow. It's not a very difficult process. These plants have been built before, they'll be built again. The gas involved is sweet gas, there's no sulphur in it. It's a very simple process. There's very little contaminants in it. It's an easy project to design and build for what it is. They're just depressurizing the gas, knocking out the water, the liquids out of it, pumping it up and putting it back down into the grid.
When that pipeline is laid and covered over, people won't even know it's there. I'll be able to look at that construction is just behind me here. I'll be able to see it for the rest of my life, and I don't mind that. But other people, Maura Harrington doesn't live near the place. She'll be able to take her eyes off it, like it won't be as obnoxious to her when she's sitting at home in Doma.
Not one prominent personality associated with the Shell to Sea campaign has put themselves forward for election in County Mayo. But the protesters don't seem too bothered about the lack of a mandate from the people of Erris. To them, the mandate that counts is that which was bestowed upon them by Mother Nature.
The Shell to Sea campaign is a campaign of integrity. And the people of Ireland know that. And in their hearts, I know that they support us because they know we're doing the right thing.
All I know myself is that the only measure of judging this took place in June or May of 2007, the general election, when the independent TD from Mayo, Jerry Cowley, who was passionately committed to the cause of the protesters, in the areas most associated with the project, he didn't even get a majority of the votes.
So why don't they run?
I've no comment to make on local elections. The houses of the Oireachtas, the government, the state, the law, and Garda Síochána, the courts, play a rigged game. We have an honest argument against this project, and we intend to stop it.
Well, you know what they say about oil companies. They buy the ruling party and then they buy the opposition. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, the state left me. I don't care if every person in this area and the majority of the country decided this was a good thing. I will do whatever it takes because, unfortunately, the only people playing hardball with Shell, which is the only thing Shell understands, are us.
Maura Harrington has her state pension. She's retired. She doesn't have to worry about where she earns her money from now on in.
They see the state as a kind of ATM machine by which they continue to put in their views and expect to get their answers out, but only their answers. It doesn't work like that. Life doesn't work like that. And I would find their attitude, this idea of fighting things to death or whatever, like, no, fundamentally unsettling, and in the context of democracy, quite fascist.
The end of this story is a long way off, and no one can yet claim victory. The battle for the gas field has brought menace and fear to what was a haven of tranquility. But someday, the silent majority must prevail. To coin a phrase, Chucky Arla.
You have it there, yeah. It's a kind of a romantic story to be told round the firesides in 100 years' time about the sterling group of diehards who took on the multinationals and lost.